When I was in school, I did a series of portraits of women going through cancer, just showing their different strengths, going through such a grueling process. For me, it was never a dream to own a studio and just sculpt all the time. So finding a job where I could help people and do something that makes their lives better while working with my hands and enjoying my craft, I feel very lucky. My name is Kaylee Dougherty. I work at Boston Ocular Prosthetics. I service people who have had a loss or been born without something and try to make them whole again, give them, back what they've lost. So we make artificial eyes for people who have either blindness or are missing an eye. We also make facial prosthetics for someone who's missing an ear or nose. We hand sculpt, paint, fabricate all of these individually, custom for each person. We start with taking an impression of the patient, so if you've ever been to the dentist, sort of a similar process. This one was from a skin cancer that he had developed, so his ear had to be removed. So I'm just kind of roughing in where I want the ear to sit, sort of roughly the size I want it to be, and then I'll start playing with more of the detail of the forms and how things feed and roll into one another. You want it to accompany the companion ear, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a perfect mirror image, and if it was a perfect mirror image on the other side, it would probably look stranger than one that is slightly different. I think that's one of the reasons why this has to be done by hand, because no one is completely symmetrical. So learning how to decide what looks right, I think, is the hardest part when getting into a field like this. Once you put them into the silicone and you pull something out of a mold that's soft and flexible and flesh-toned, people kind of go from it not looking quite right to all of a sudden looking much more like them. The big difference between doing an ear and an eye is when you're looking at someone and talking with someone, you're looking into their eyes. You notice little things about the structures and the colors and the arrangements when you're getting really up close. And I'll continue making tweaks until it looks as consistent with the other eye as possible. So right now this would be painting the iris, doing very fine layers of color. You're just building it up to give an illusion of depth. If someone notices the work that I do, then I'm not doing my job right. I mean, even some doctors can't tell. We have many patients who come in here that say they go into the eye doctor and the doctor comes in and tries to shine a light or tries to dilate that pupil. What people don't realize is there are functions to these as well. For someone with an ear, it helps with hearing because it helps make sure that the sound directs properly. With the artificial eyes, obviously I can't restore someone's vision, but I can make sure that there's comfort, there's movement, so that things feel right to them. For each patient, as they grow and as they age, as they change, as things happen to them, adjustments are needed and new ones are made over the years. So we do tend to get to know people very well.
What I was thinking driving up here was I've had a prosthesis for 53 years. It feels okay. I mean, it does feel a little foreign object-y right now, but that's, not in an uncomfortable way.
I've been watching it as we were talking earlier, and it's not seated properly, so we'll see if we can just tweak the shape and see how that looks. And then I will let you see it before
It's okay. I'm just curious about the whole
absolutely.
process.
Lots of people are so excited, especially for patients who have had a trauma. They've been through a really long road of bad news and pain. So by the time they get here, they kind of feel like they're finally getting put back together, and there can be, for some patients, a very overwhelming sense of closure. I'll let you see it. It's still settling a little bit, but I think what I'll do is you're excited for them to have what they wouldn't have had otherwise, and have that be as much a part of them as if it was what they were born with.